Hello guys, we are starting part 6 rotational dynamics. In previous lectures we have covered topics related with circular motion, and in this lecture we will start topic related with rotational motion. So uh, as we have discussed in the previous lectures, there are this is nothing but one type of circular motion which is uh, happening around the axis of the given body, and that axis passes through the center of that what you can say body. So what is the actual definition? When a body, you can see here, when a body performs circular motion around its own axis, then it is called rotational motion. For example, we have seen the example of the motion of top. As you can imagine, suppose this is upper portion of the top and this is the lower portion, this is the nail on which it is just moving. So motion of the top at a single point, when it is just moving, that kind of motion is totally related with the rotational motion. That is nothing but the rotational motion, because this line is called as axis of rotation for this moving, or you can say circulating top. Another example, you can see the example of ceiling fan. What happens here, this axle, they are nothing but the support, and these are the blades which are just moving. Suppose this fan is rotating like this, so this axle is nothing but it is axis of rotation, and this whole system that will perform rotational motion. So these are the two examples you can consider. uh, what are the main important thing we have to relate, or you can say we have to keep in mind? That is moment of inertia, that is analogous quantity for the mass. What does it mean? In linear motion, or you can say in translational motion, we consider mass as one of the basic property. So for the mass, which is one kind of equivalent quantity for the rotational motion, at the place of mass we will always put this quantity, that is called moment of inertia, or simply I can write capital I. So mass is equivalent to capital I, you can just keep in mind. In linear motion we understand force is equal to mass into acceleration, but in rotational motion this force is totally replaced by another quantity called as torque. So force is analogous, or you can say similar quantity to torque. Torque is considered in rotational motion, force is considered into linear motion. So these are the two quantity which we have to keep in mind for the previous expressions. So what is the main expression which is very much important for this topic? That is, we always have to find kinetic energy. In the case of rotational motion, it is called as rotational kinetic energy. Why? Because the body is just rotating about it. So suppose this is the body and this is the axis passing through its center, and body just rotating like this. So what will be the kinetic energy? Because this body is moving, and when body moves, that means it is having kinetic energy. And uh, what is the kinetic energy of this moving body, or you can say rotating body? So what the example we are going to consider? Suppose when we open the door, that is attached with the hinges. There are different types of doors, but there is a door, and this is suppose wall. Hinges like means there are some connections similar to this, and when we open, suppose this door is open, it will open like this from here to here. So there is motion, and we generally apply force here, and the motion of this door is along at this point. So basically when we are just opening the door, we are applying force here, but the another force which is taking place, that is with the help of these hinges, the attachment with the wall and the door. So we give some angular displacement. Why it is called as angular displacement? Because initially door will be like this, and after the application of the force, door will be like this. So from this position to this position, door has covered some angle, that is called as angular displacement. The effort does not only depend upon the mass of the door. What kind of effort, what kind of force we are applying here, that does not only depend upon that mass. Because in the when we consider force in linear motion, it is nothing but mass and acceleration. But in rotational motion, torque, this effort, whatever the action is taking place, that is not totally dependent upon the mass of the door, but also perpendicular distance from the axis of rotation. So what is this? Suppose this door is attached to this wall, this is wall, and this is a door. This is point of attachment, and we applied force here. Door has displaced from this position to this position, it has covered this angle. So basically, uh, this line, this will be called as axis of rotation, that is called as axis of rotation. This is the point of application of force. This line is perpendicular distance from this axis of rotation. So this is written here. This whole effort, that is not only depending upon the mass but also perpendicular distance of the from the axis of rotation to the point of application of force. तो जहाँ पे भी ये डोर घूम रहा है, रोटेट कर रहा है, that point is called as the that line is called as axis of rotation, and this is the point of application because door has moved from here to here. This is point of application of force. So this line is perpendicular distance from this axis of rotation to this point of application of the force. That is what we are talking about. So these are the two basic things we have to keep in mind. The quantity analogous to mass does not include only mass. What is the analogous to what quantity is analogous to the mass? Because we know this tau is, that is called as torque, is analogous to mass. But this torque, that does not only include the mass, it also includes some, what you can say, distribution of mass around the axis of rotation. So suppose this is the axis of rotation, this whole system, this whole part of the door, what is the mass distributed around this axis of rotation of this door? That all distribution of the masses, distance wise masses, that will play role in this value called as torque. That we have to keep in mind. What happens basically, in linear, force is equal to mass into acceleration. It is just the mass of the object, but in this case we are not considering whole mass of the object. What is the axis of rotation and what is the distribution of masses of the particles from the axis of rotation? Because when we consider this particle, this is very near to the axis of rotation. When we consider this particle, that is very far away from the axis of rotation. So the position of the particles are different from the axis of rotation. That's why we consider the distribution of mass around the axis of rotation. So to understand this, we derive the following expression. That expression is nothing but it is called as rotational kinetic energy. That is called as rotational kinetic energy. That is nothing but the sum, that is addition of translational kinetic energy of all the individual particles. So whatever the particles are in the body, they will perform. Suppose in this case we have this random shape body, and this is the axis of rotation, this is the point where it is passing through. Suppose there are n number of particles, n means many number of particles, and we have given name 1 2 and dot dot n, that is, then these are the name of the particles. So what is happening here, we are talking about the rotational kinetic energy, means what is the total rotational kinetic energy of this system, that is body, that is equal to translational kinetic energy of all individual particles. Means whatever the particles are there, those particles will perform circular motion. That means they are going nothing but they are performing one kind of translational kinetic energy. So when we add translational kinetic energy of all the particle, we will get the rotational kinetic energy of this whole body. So suppose this body is considered, you have to consider this body. This is particle 1 that is having mass m1, particle 2 having mass m2. This is suppose nth particle, whatever be the number, that is having mass mn. Another thing, the distance of the m1 from this center O, this r1, distance of m2, that is r2, distance of m1 mn, that is rn. In this case, what we have to consider when we are talking about the distance, why it is considered, because when we try to draw the circle of this particle, it will be like this. When we try to draw the circle of this m1 particle, it will be like this. When we try to do the circle of this nth particle, it will be like this. So basically all the particles are performing nothing but one kind of circular motion. They are nothing but concentric with this point. So each and every particle is situated in different position. So that's why we are considering different distances, and the masses of the particles may not be same. That's why we are considering different masses, m1, m2 and mn. But what is this what is the constant here? Omega, that is nothing but this thing, angular speed of the whole body, that is constant. So that means all the particles will have angular speed constant. And at this point, this will be the direction of linear velocity of the particle 1, this will be the direction of linear velocity of particle 2, this will be the direction of linear velocity of particle mn. So that is why we have considered this. So these are the points we have to keep in mind. What is further expression? Consider rigid body rotating with a constant angular speed, that is omega. I have told you earlier. This omega is perpendicular to that rotation is perpendicular plane of paper. Suppose this is nothing but the paper we have considered. There is a body. This is the axis of rotation, and this body is rotating like this. So this will be omega, this will be a plane of paper, and this is perpendicular to this thing. And lead body has n particles of masses m1, m2 and mn, and they are at the respective perpendicular, this is written like this, perpendicular distances. What are the distances? r1, r2 and rn from the axis of rotation. No, they are distributed from the axis of rotation. That's why we are considered r1, r2 and rn. And what is the further expression? As we know that body, when body rotates, all the particles of body, they are performing uniform circular motion. Why uniform circular motion? Because omega is constant. That's why it is called as uniform circular motion. They are having same angular speed, but they are having different linear speed. उनका angular speed same है, but लीनियर स्पीड अलग है. v को हमने किससे दिखाया था? लीनियर स्पीड से. और जो ओमेगा है सभी पार्टिकल के लिए सेम है, बट जो v है, v1 v2 हर पॉइंट पे अलग है, चेंज हो रहा है. इसलिए हर पार्टिकल की लीनियर स्पीड भी अलग है, डायरेक्शन चेंज होता है बेसिकली. सो स्पीड का अगर मैग्नीट्यूड लिखेंगे, दैट विल स्पीड द फर्स्ट पार्टिकल v1, लीनियर स्पीड द फर्स्ट पार्टिकल v1 इक्वल्स टू r1 ओमेगा, v2 equals to r2 omega, and v3 equals to r3 omega, and so on. We can write vn equals to rn omega. That we have to keep in mind at the place of this thing. I can write that thing. So what will be the translational kinetic energy? Translational kinetic energy means linear kinetic energy of the first particle. As we know that the formula of kinetic energy is equal to half mv square. For the first particle I will write m1 and v1. For the second particle I will write m2 and v2. For the third particle I will write m3 and v3. So of any particle, suppose for the nth particle I will write half mn and vn square, that is for the nth particle. This is the pattern of notation we have to keep in mind. So as you can see, kinetic energy of the first particle equals to half m1 v1 square. At the place of v1 I will write r1 omega, so it becomes v1 square will become r1 square omega square, that's written here. And kinetic energy of the second particle, that is equal to half m2 v2 square, that's something but half m2 r2 square omega square. Kinetic energy of nth particle, half mn vn square, that is equal to half mn rn square omega square. Now what we know, we know that rotational kinetic energy of a body equals to sum of individual translational kinetic of all the particles. So these are nothing but the translational kinetic energy of the individual particles, and we have to find rotational kinetic energy. This is the rotational kinetic energy, and this half m1 r1 omega square plus half m2 r2 square omega square dot dot half mn rn square omega square. These are nothing but the summation, or you can say addition of all the individual particles kinetic energy, that is translational kinetic energy. In this case we can see half is common in all the terms, so I have taken half as common, and omega square is also same for all the terms, so omega square is common. So what is remaining inside it is m1 r1 square plus m2 r square plus mn rn square up to the nth particle. So we are remained with half omega square. Value of this whole summation is nothing but I, that is called as moment of inertia. What is it? So summation of m1 r1 square plus m2 r2 square plus mn rn square, that is nothing but the summation of this thing. You can see here summation of m I r I square, but I is written for the position of any particle. If it is 1, at the place of I can write 1 1, it will become m1 r1 square. If it is 2, I can write m2 r2 square. If it is for the particle 3, I can write m3 r3 square. So I is nothing but the notation for the position of the particle, or can say number of the particle. So I starting from 1 up to n. N means we have n number of particle. As much number of particle you have, that is suppose you have 100 particles, so n will be 100. If you have 1000 particles, n will be 1000. So n is that nothing but maximum limit of the number of the particle. So you can see here, so at the place of this thing we have to write I. The whole notation will become rotational kinetic energy equals to half I omega square. That's it. Going further, if I replaces m and angular speed omega replaces v, that is linear speed, then it will become, as you can see, half I omega square. At the place of I can write m, at the omega I can write v, so it becomes half m v square. So this rotational kinetic energy is nothing but analogous to translational kinetic energy. So that's why I have written here rotational kinetic energy is analogous to translational kinetic energy. So this moment of inertia is summation of mi square from I equals to 1 to n, that is nothing but the rotational inertia, or you can say moment of inertia. This I is called as rotational inertia, or you can say moment of inertia of the object about the given axis of rotation. जिस एक्सिस पे बॉडी रोटेट कर रही है उस एक्सिस पे इनर्शिया मतलब प्रॉपर्टी विच इज अपोजिंग द चेंज. तो inertia, that is nothing but moment of inertia, that is equal to this formula. Now I depends upon individual masses of the particle and distribution of the masses about the given axis of rotation. What does it mean? Suppose this is the axis of rotation and this is nothing but the particle body, and this is axis of that body. Particles are at different distances. So this particle will be at this distance, this particle will be at the some larger distance, this will have some different distance. So all the particles are distributed according their position, or can say radius wise or distance wise. That's why mass of the body is also uh, distributed according the distance wise. uh, for a homogeneous object, that is uh, same at all the position, particles are having same dimensions, same physical property at all the position, homogeneous, of mathematically integrable mass. Mathematically integrable mass means we can integrate all the particles value mathematically. That's why it's written. Mass distribution. Moment of inertia is given by I equals to integration of r square dm. That is the value of moment of inertia. Integration of r square dm. That we have to keep in mind. Now this was the whole topic related with the moment of inertia, or you can say rotational kinetic energy of the body. Another thing, we have to find the moment of inertia of a uniform ring. Uniform ring means any ring what you see. This is nothing but 2-dimensional ring. यूनिफॉर्म बोला है मतलब उसका रेडियस हर जगह सेम है और उसका बनावट, उसका स्ट्रक्चर भी हर जगह सेम है. Uniform ring mass is situated uniformly on the circumference of circle. Suppose this is circumference of circle, हर पॉइंट पे मास उसका सेम है और उसका रेडियस भी हर जगह सेम है. दैट्स व्हाई इज कॉल्ड एज यूनिफॉर्म रिंग. और ये 2D ऑब्जेक्ट है और निग्लिजिबल थिकनेस उस मतलब ये ज़्यादा मोटा नहीं है, एकदम पतला सा है. ठीक है. इट इज़ रोटेटिंग अबाउट एन एक्सिस. ये रिंग है और अपने एक्सिस पे रोटेट कर रही है इसे. ठीक है, ऐसे दैट इज एंगुलर स्पीड. देन इट्स मास m. Capital M is the mass of the ring, will be at distance r from the axis. So this is the axis of rotation. At this point we will have mass. This mass is nothing but at the distance r from this axis of rotation. That's why I have written it. So what will be the value of moment of inertia? Moment of inertia will be mr square. As you can see, moment of inertia was integral of r square dm. When dm is integrated, it becomes m, and this r is nothing but the radius of that ring, r square m. That is I is equal to mr square. Now the most one of the important derivation of this chapter is nothing but moment of inertia of a uniform disk. Uniform disk means uniform. The meaning of uniform is nothing but we have to consider the distribution of mass at all the points are same. जो भी जिस पॉइंट पे भी आप मास का डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन निकालोगे सब इक्वल मिलेगा, सेम मिलेगा. This is edge, outer edge of the disk, this is inner edge of the disk, and this is nothing but the whole disk. This is rotating about this axis omega. Omega is angular speed, this is axis of rotation. Now what we have to keep in mind here, just see, from this center point to this outer edge, that is the capital R, and this is inner radius, that is small r. There is another notation, inner side, and this is outer side. That is for the consideration of the distribution of the masses. You can imagine how a disk can be formed. Suppose I have one ring, I have added another ring there, I have added another ring there. So at one time we will be able to see that by adding rings over rings we can get disk. So for that thing, this is suppose one ring, I have added another ring. So the gap, or you can say thickness, width, not thickness, width between two rings is nothing but dr. That we have to keep in mind. This circular object with negligible thickness, इसका thickness नहीं है ज़्यादा मोटा, एकदम पतला है. What is uniform? Uniform means you can consider here mass per unit length and composition is same throughout. According to its length, per unit length, the mass is same. हर यूनिट पे हर यूनिट वाइज लेंथ पे उसका मास सेम है, किसी भी पॉइंट पे आप जाएंगे, और उसका कंपोजिशन हर पॉइंट पे सेम है, हर उसकी बनावट हर जगह सेम. नाउ वी हैव सिग्मा. सिग्मा इज नथिंग बट कॉल्ड एज सरफेस डेंसिटी. डेंसिटी इज आपको पता है मास अपॉन एरिया होता है. इन दिस केस क्योंकि ये टू डायमेंशनल ऑब्जेक्ट है तो एरिया लेंगे, वॉल्यूम नहीं लेंगे. तो मास अपॉन एरिया, कैपिटल एम अपॉन ए, दैट इज नथिंग बट सिग्मा सरफेस डेंसिटी. Just keep in mind for the further notation. Consider a uniform disk of mass m. Disk का mass कितना है m, and that is having radius r. Outer radius is r, rotating about its own axis, that is perpendicular its plane, passing through the center. What is d? D is nothing but mass upon area, but area of that outer radius circle is nothing but pi r square. So that's why it is written as mass upon pi r square. This thing. Another thing is that this uniform disk consists of number of concentric rings. You can just imagine, as earlier I have told, and the radii of those rings start from 0 to r. So what does it mean? Basically we have inner, this is axis of rotation, we have inner radius that is r, or you can say suppose very inner side from 0 to r. This is starting from one circle, another circle, and it is going up to this. This is r, and this point is equal to 0. So radius starting from 0 to r, that we have to keep in mind. So one of such rings of mass dm. So as we have n number of rings, so suppose I am considering just one ring that is having mass dm, is shown by shaded portion having width dr. As you can see here, this ring shaded portion having mass dm, and width of that ring is dr, width, not thickness. And in that case, area of this small ring will be, suppose area of that whole ring with respect to radius. What we have to do, we have to find the derivative of the area with respect to radius. With variable is nothing but radius, it is changing variable. So what it becomes, value of area is nothing but pi r square upon dr. So as you can see, the pi is constant, it becomes dr square upon dr. So this is nothing but 2r, so it becomes 2 pi 2r, it becomes pi 2r. Here we have dA upon dr, just take dr on the side, area will become 2 pi r into dr. As we know that surface density or surface density is nothing but mass upon area, dm upon dA. So dm upon value of dA is nothing but 2 pi r into dr. So when we find the value of dm, just take this another side, it becomes dm equals to 2 pi sigma r into dr. That is the value of mass, that is dm of that ring. We have to find that. So this is considered at distance r from the axis. So this whole mass is considered at the distance r from the axis. As you know, this was the inner distance at r, and this was the outer distance as capital R. So moment of inertia at that point means at this inner distance r, at this position, what will be the moment of inertia? Inertia is moment of inertia nothing but, as I have told you, it is integrable of that is r square dm. So it is nothing but dm r square. So inertia at r will be dm r square, that we have to see here. So now what becomes the value of that thing? We can see uh, the range of the disk, that is not at the r only, it is starting from 0 to capital R. So moment of inertia of the disk, that is capital I, that is integration of inertia of that ring at distance r starting from 0 to capital R, that we have to see here. So what is the value of IR? As we know that it is dm r square. You can see here, this is the value of IR. But value of dm is nothing but 2 pi sigma r into dr. At the place of dm I can write 2 pi sigma r into dr into r square. 2 pi sigma is constant, that's taken out. R square into r, that is r cube into dr with respect to dr. So when we find the integration of r cube, it becomes basically it is r raised to 4 upon 4. Why is this so? Because when we integrate anything x raised to n with dx, it becomes x raised to n plus 1 upon n plus 1. So at this place we have n is equal to 3, it becomes n plus 1 4 upon 4, and the variable is small r, not capital R. So we have range from 0 to capital R. At one point we will keep capital R at the place of small r minus 0 at the place of small r. So this second term, that is 0, that will not be considered, only one term will be considered, that's r raised to 4 upon 4. So moment of inertia will be 2 pi sigma r raised to 4 upon 4, but value of sigma we know that mass upon pi r square, but sigma is nothing but surface density mass upon area, area is nothing but pi r square here for the maximum value. So it becomes, as you can see, sigma is equal to mass upon pi r square here. So pi will get cancelled, r square will be cancelled, only r square upon 4 remains. So 2, so it is nothing but half mr square, that is the moment of inertia of a circular disc. So thank you for today's lecture. This was it.